All right, final step, do the lab, right? So a Firebase lab this time is called PhotoBucket, also known as WeatherPix. And the whole idea here is that we want to do something similar to movie quotes, right? Only with images, right? So what I have here, this was kind of the whole idea of using weather pictures was actually inspired by an app idea that my kid's first Lego League team had a couple years ago. But honestly, you can take it more general than that if you want different types of pictures here. There's nothing magical about pictures of weather. Basically, on our app here, we see a list of captions essentially, and then some URLs. And if I were to click on one of these, right? So say I click on sunset and lightning, all right? Then it's gonna come in here. And it's going to load up in the image that's stored at that URL, all right, and it's going to show it here, all right. I can go back to my main list, and so on, right. If I were to do a long press on one of these guys, right, then it brings me up a little dialog to edit it, and you can see that I can edit or delete it. I set it up kind of that way. So here I could say tornado, big, right, and I click OK, right, and it updates here. I probably should have also had my web app running here at the same time. So here's our tornado big. Let's see. Let's do this again here. Actually, let's long press on that guy and actually just delete it. Boom, it's gone off the back end here. Oops, clicked into that guy too. Didn't mean to do that. What else can we do? We can add a new one. All right, and if I say I don't know what this is going to get because I don't have a URL ready to paste in here, but I have some hard coded in and it'll choose one randomly. So random one, it looks like we got some kind of a flood here. All right, so then I could go in and I could long press, and then I could rename it flood again or something, right? And I get this here. I can also do the same thing. So if I take this flood again, say flood again, my goodness, a lot of them, and here we go. We see that it is listening for changes from the back end. So very cool lab. Like I say, you can play around with different types of images. I have no problems with that. In fact, you might have other types as long as they're clean. That would be more interest to you. All right, very good. So regardless of what type of images you use here, we're going to get practice with Firebase pushes and listeners. Some more work with downloading photos using async tasks and all that stuff. We did that in a prior lab. And then more work with fragments. As you can see, we had sort of a detail, we had kind of a list fragment and then a detail fragment with there. All right, so should be a fun lab for you. I'll give you a heads up, we're going to be extending this in our next unit. We're going to add authentication to it. So do a good job with this one because you're going to be looking at this code for a couple weeks. All right. So to summarize, all right, Firebase, super easy synchronization for you. I mentioned this in the beginning, not just Android, but they also have web and iOS stuff here. So you really could create a whole platform. And as a matter of fact, I saw they did a live demo at Google I/O from zero to app. And I think the video was around 35 minutes long. Incredibly fast, and what they actually did was on a split screen. They had web, Android, iOS, and then they had the Firebase database, sort of the back end on the fourth quadrant, and they were coding the whole thing up together. They did a chat app, which they're known pretty well for. Anyway, so very cool stuff there, right? And then a link here to any of their other documentation. So many other things that you can do with Firebase. We're just scratching the surface of it right now. Right. And I'll just mention here to finish up here that we definitely have lots of connections at Firebase, right? So so I mentioned the founders in the beginning. Mike McDonald is also a former student of mine. I took 483 a few years ago. He actually went off, got a job at Firebase, and he returned. Did a sort of an intro talk to Firebase a few years ago, and now it's integral to a lot of things that we're doing at Rose-Hulman in our different classes here. So it's kind of neat, right? So Mike is very influential in what we did, and I'd say that's really only been in the last few years, right? So you can see he's been out a couple years here. What are you going to do in the next 3 to 5 years? Kind of a challenge, right? So Mike, it turns out is actually I mentioned that from zero to app video. Google I/O. So Mike is the one who introduces it. If you want to see Mike in that, and also he's the one who does the iOS app, right? So it's really neat stuff. And I'll mention that it's not just Mike, but some of our excellent students, star students, are working there. So both Alex Memmering, and as I mentioned in the beginning, Tyler Rockwood, right? So very excited. Firebase, awesome tool. You guys are gonna have fun with it. Go get it. Go do your lab, right? And we'll talk to you later. All right. Have a great day.